After my divorce, I dove headfirst into my acting career. My ex-husband and I had no contact, except for the agreed-upon weekly time I spent with our kid. That was until I stumbled upon Tom's social media account. Turns out, he'd become a parenting influencer with 1 million followers. Over 3 years, I watched him expertly change diapers and bottle feed our baby, transforming our babbling infant into a well-behaved, angelic son. In his latest video, our son asked, "Why can't mom spend every day with me like you do?" Tom paused for a moment, then earnestly told him, "Because she's herself first, then your mom." I traced the screen, quietly feeling a flutter in my heart. I had a kid, got divorced. It felt like the end of the story, but that's when I actually started falling for this guy. As I was getting dressed to go downstairs and greet the new guests, someone suddenly grabbed my wrist. When I turned, before I could even react, I was stunned, pulled into a utility closet in a corner, away from the cameras. I pressed against the door, my gaze darting around, that feeling of not knowing where to look returning. The familiar, faint sense slowly invaded my senses, like a virus spreading through my rushing blood straight to my heart, causing it to tremble, to spasm. The noisy chatter from outside gradually faded. The overly close proximity between us made it hard to breathe. A burning heat spread rapidly from my face throughout my body. I had never experienced such an agonizing yet wonderful sensation. Tom looked down at me. It could have been a few seconds, or perhaps centuries, before I finally heard his voice. "Your collar button is loose." I jerked my head up, incredulous. "You brought me here just to tell me that?" Tom's eyes flashed with bewilderment and confusion. He paused, then nodded honestly. I laughed, for no reason, out of anger. Shame and fury instantly flooded my mind, drowning out all reason. I took a step forward, tilting my head up until I could clearly see the fine hairs on his face, then stopped. Tom held his breath, unable to stop himself. I smirked. "Then please, could you button it for me?" "Okay." His expression was one of relief, yet a flicker of something unreadable darkened his eyes. I swept my hair aside. Tom moved behind me, his touch very light, as if afraid of hurting me. "Tom, are you this attentive to all women?" For no reason, I suddenly wanted to ask that. Tom's movement stopped. "What?" "Nothing. Let's go." I regretted my impulsiveness and reached for the doorknob. Tom grabbed my wrist again, his voice very soft. "Something like this, I've only ever done for you." I stopped, looking directly into his eyes. The usually calm, deep lake was now turbulent, as if a slight misstep would suck one in to be devoured, truly frightening. Yet, I don't know where I found the courage, but I grabbed his collar, stood on my tiptoes, and kissed him. My heart pounded, palms slick with sweat, breath ragged. It was a brief touch. I didn't run away this time. I quietly waited for his answer. After the initial, unexpected shock faded, Tom's eyes, locked on mine, grew deeper and deeper, making my scalp tingle for no reason. A reassuring force wrapped around my lower back, pushing me forward, as my hands pressed against Tom's chest. Now, there wasn't an inch of distance between us. Just as Tom lowered his head, intending to kiss me back, someone knocked on the door. "Jasmine, Tom, are you in there?" I covered Tom's mouth, my eyes crinkling in a smile, and mouthed silently. "Don't keep them waiting too long." In that moment, I knew his answer. It was the third scenario. The two new guests were Sam, a well-known male singer, and Annie, a designer for a luxury fashion brand. To help them integrate smoothly, Chloe suggested playing some icebreaker games after dinner to get to know each other better. Leo immediately chimed in, "How about, never have I ever? The loser drinks a concoction I mix." Everyone knew the game and quickly formed a circle. Starting with Leo, he smiled and looked around. "There's someone here I'd like to develop things further with." Everyone instinctively looked at a slightly blushing Chloe, making teasing noises. Only Sam and Annie, the newcomers, bent a finger. Sam, who had a great sense for variety shows, quickly picked up, picking on the newbies. "Huh? Alright, my turn. I have released a song. Everyone except a smug-looking Jason bent a finger. Annie, with her outgoing personality, quickly got the hang of it and followed suit. I have designed clothes. Everyone else reluctantly bent a finger, protesting, that's not how you play. She shrugged. Can't help it. I don't dare drink that. It was a drink that looked unfit for human consumption, seemingly with chili powder added. Sam meekly raised his hand. Does knitting a sweater count? Chloe laughed. Huh, my undergrad was in fashion design, surprise. She continued, I've won an award for Most Influential Beauty Creator. Don't blame me, I don't want to drink that either. Diana thought for a moment, then said, when I was 16, I saw the river at 3 a.m. Only Tom and Diana didn't bend a finger. Combined with the childhood sweetheart rumors and this statement, it was hard not to read into their relationship. No one spoke, but their gazes darted back and forth between the two of them. Humph, my fault for waking up too late. At 16, I only saw the river at 7 a.m. An intense gaze fell on my face. The owner of that gaze was right next to me. It was hard not to notice. I smiled and tilted my head towards Tom. What, showing off that you woke up earlier than me? Why do I feel like I'm Tom right now, holding my breath watching this? Oh my God, everyone's expressions are priceless. Leo's smiling so slyly, he must know something. It's an experience between childhood sweethearts, by the river at 3 a.m., so shippable. Are you even looking at who Tom is staring at? He looks so nervous, terrified Jasmine will misunderstand. But what's their relationship actually? Hey, I remember now. I also saw the river at 3 a.m. when I was 16. Leo happily straightened his bent finger. Seeing everyone looking at him suspiciously, he quickly added, if you don't believe me, I'll show you pictures later. I failed a test back then and was scared my dad would give me a spanking, so I hid outside all night. Chloe chuckled. Wouldn't that make the consequences even worse? How did you know? Later, my mom joined in too. It was a parental tag team punishment. Everyone burst out laughing, and the atmosphere instantly lightened. When it was my turn, I only had one finger left, so I had to use my trump card. I have an adorable son. Everyone except Tom and me bent their fingers. We once again became the center of attention. Sam sighed. Why not an adorable daughter? So close. Annie high-fived him. What a coincidence, I have an adorable daughter too. Seriously, what are these people with kids doing on a dating show? Am I supposed to be watching a parental love story? The show's description clearly states it's a dating show for mature adults. Don't divorced people deserve to find true love? It's a mutual choice, and they're not hiding anything. Anyway, I love watching it. It's all scripted. You think they're really here to date? They're all here to build a persona and get views. Since it's already a chaotic mix, let's make the script even more dramatic. I can handle it. The next second, Tom's calm, deep voice sounded. Someone here and I have an adorable son together. The live stream crashed due to too many people logging in simultaneously and was forced to stop. The outcome of the game no longer mattered. Leo stared, his eyes wider than I'd ever seen them. He downed the drink he'd mixed in one gulp to barely suppress the holy crap about to escape his lips. The director frantically contacted the technical staff for emergency repairs. He looked at me, equally shocked, and then at the culprit, with a mixture of love and hate. He gave us half an hour to pack our bags and prepare to go to the next location for a 3-day, 2-night camping date on the grasslands. Time was tight, and prying eyes were everywhere. Fortunately, the live streaming equipment wasn't fixed yet. I slipped into his room when no one was looking. He was shirtless at that moment, about to change clothes. He stunned, then chuckled. Should I call the cops on a peeping Tom right now? I was past feeling shy, rushing up to him and looking up to question him. Stop joking. What you just did in the game was huge. How are we going to smooth this over? Tom's smile slowly faded. Smooth it over? Jasmine, aren't you going to take responsibility for me? I was stunned. I didn't say. I came here for you. Tom moved closer, his tall frame completely enveloping me. He took a deep breath, then slowly spoke. Before, your tablet was left at the family home. I saw this show on your schedule, and Jason was among the male guests. Your CP was very popular, with tons of fanfiction. I was afraid you. I cut him off. Wait, you thought I developed feelings for Jason because of a role, that I'd be interested in him? He pursed his lips, his voice low. I had that concern at first. But after seeing his foolish behavior on the show, I dismissed that idea. Your taste wouldn't be that bad. He really was quite conceited. I observed your expression. You weren't surprised at all that I was on this show, as if you knew I'd be here all along. The first possibility is that you don't care about me at all. The second is that your control over your micro-expressions is at a masterful level. The third. Tom suddenly sat down on the end of the bed, tentatively reaching for my hand. Only when he saw I didn't resist did he hold it firmly. Can I be narcissistic enough to believe that you're not entirely without feelings for me either? Now, his perspective shifted from looking down to looking up. Seeing his cautious actions in question, a sudden tightness gripped my chest. So, these past few days, it wasn't just me weighing things back and forth, tossing and turning. The more mature we become, the more timid we are in love. Even tentative words have to be rehearsed repeatedly. I suddenly wanted to just go for it. Strictly speaking, Tom was my first love. Why couldn't I be honest with my heart for once? Hearing what he said during the game, beyond the shock, there was a belated sweetness. I was falling for him. I liked him. I wanted to respond. So I looked into his eyes and gave him an affirmative answer. Yes, I came here for you. Tom, I like you. He curled his lips into a smile, his eyes full of mirth, yet they suddenly reddened. Jasmine, thank you for liking me too. I was startled. The word cry was something I'd never imagined associated with Tom. I hastily, clumsily tried to wipe his tears. Tom, you. Leo, who suddenly opened the door, and I stared at each other. My hand was still ambiguously on Tom's face. His eyes widened in shock for the second time, and he quickly bowed. I'm sorry, my darn hand forgot to knock again. I'll fix this habit next time, you two continue. My face instantly burned, but I forced myself to remain composed. It's okay, I'm leaving now. You can come in. After rushing out, I ran into the other guests. Fortunately, although they smiled knowingly, they just coughed deliberately in front of me and avoided the topic. Except for Jason, whose face was a mixture of complexity and hidden anger, as if I had trifled with his affections. During this time, I also met Diana. She approached me. I was a little surprised. Is something wrong? Diana closed the door, her gaze falling on the jasmine snow globe on my nightstand. After a moment of distraction, she looked down. Congratulations in advance. I didn't say anything. She continued on her own. Tom lived with his grandmother when he was little, that's how we met. Later, even after he transferred schools, he would often come back to see her. I've had a crush on him since I first understood romance. I never expected him to marry you. After finding out you two were just an arranged marriage and divorced quickly, I thought I had a chance. I came on this show to be brave for once, but I didn't expect him to truly love you. We're both actresses, but subconscious reactions can't be faked. You like him too, right? I nodded without hesitation. Yes. Well, then there's nothing to be done. Diana looked at me, a forced smile on her lips. Since you like each other, I can't very well pretend not to notice and continue to be an eyesore. Don't worry, I won't anymore. I give up. My feelings were complicated. After a moment's thought, I told her. Then I wish you great success in your career, may all your future endeavors be smooth sailing. Diana smiled. Of course. I'll wish you both well gracefully and make a dignified exit. That kind of persona is more likable than someone who's unrequitedly in love and still clings on. If I can gain some more fans, it won't have been a waste of time coming here. That's us strong women for you, never forgetting our careers, no matter the situation. As she was about to leave, she remembered something and turned back. By the way, when I said in the game that I saw the river at 3 a.m. at 16, it was because my parents were fighting over a divorce, and I was being bullied at school. The pressure was too much, and I briefly had suicidal thoughts. Tom's grandmother just asked him to come find me. Don't misunderstand. She said it casually, but it wasn't hard to imagine how helpless a young girl experiencing all that must have felt. I said sincerely, "You're truly amazing to have gotten where you are today. You too. May we meet on even bigger award stages." Sincerely. Once we reached the campsite, the live stream finally resumed. The director, watching the flood of viewers pouring in, couldn't stop grinning. Mysterious. We've really been played by the capitalists this time. Damn it, so you two have a kid and we're still pretending not to know each other, playing us like fools? You think I have a lot of time on my hands? Sob, who understands? I only dared to ship them secretly, afraid people would call me a heretic. If you have any conscience left, show me some real affection right now. No, commenter above, you. Let heavens judge the loyal and the treacherous. Oh my God, Tom, are you really William's dad? The voice matches, the timeline matches, even the "mom is very busy" part matches. Who is William's dad? Secretary, go find out immediately. A parenting influencer I love. William is my cyber son, so good and cute. Someone explain what's going on. So who ended up drinking that concoction? Tell us. As the show progressed, Tom's secret identity was on the verge of being exposed. The director clearly had no intention of addressing any questions at the moment. We began the selection for our third date. There were 4 gifts on the table, each with a card underneath. And I immediately recognized the one Tom sent, because it was a City Edition toy car I had bought for our son on a family trip. Seriously, this was too much cheating. Diana, seeing this, smiled. The other 2 also saw what was happening and coughed with a knowing laugh. Let those 2 pick first. I have no objection. Yeah, I agree. Annie and Diana exchanged a look and pushed Chloe and me forward. Everyone could see that there were currently 2 mutual pairs. So they generously and openly played matchmaker. I didn't act coy either and took the toy car. I opened the card. It read, "No son this time. Just us, a private date." Okay? William would know to be angry. Thinking this, I couldn't quite suppress the smile on my face, and a faint warmth spread across my cheeks. Our first one-on-one date after confessing our feelings for each other. It was exciting. Back in the tent, I thought for a moment, then found a card and started drawing. A return gift. After Tom took it, I turned and walked away quickly, afraid he would chase me. He watched my retreating, light-hearted figure. It was a long while before he looked down. The moment he saw the drawing, his ears turned red. He raised a hand to touch his nose, hiding the irrepressible curve of his lips. What was written on the card? What did Jasmine draw? Why won't you let me see? The director is so clever, deliberately not showing the specific content. It will only be released as a bonus clip after the show ends. You're deliberately keeping me in suspense, aren't you? I admit, he succeeded. Damn it. But the interactions between this weird couple are so sweet. They're like a young couple in love for the first time. I can't stop smiling. They have a kid already, stop pretending to be so innocent. It's all scripted. Whoever believes it is a fool. My rare one-on-one date with Tom was still pleasantly uneventful. Dinner, shopping, a movie, many activities that couples might find cliché were novel firsts for us. Even an accidental glance or touch would make our hearts race. Throughout the day, on camera, we still interacted with a reserved and tender shyness. Until we returned to the campsite. After getting out of the car, I accidentally stepped on a stone and lost my balance. Tom caught me just in time. "Is your ankle hurt?" I rotated my ankle. "No." The pressure on my wrist gradually loosened but didn't release. Instead, it tentatively, slowly moved downwards until our palms touched. I looked up and saw him nervously pursing his lips, his eyes questioning. "Can I?" My answer was to proactively interlace my fingers with his, our hands clasped. So this was what his palm felt like, dry and warm. Tom paused for a moment, then a smile spread from his eyes. I, however, had used up all my courage and turned my head away, unable to meet his gaze. And so we walked, hand in hand, as he escorted me back to my tent. How strange. It was such a long walk, why did it feel so short today? I also find it strange. These two have a child, but just holding hands makes my heart pound. Even their goodnights after he walked her back are so romantic. The most unlikely pair is now the one I ship the hardest. Chloe and Leo, the comedian CP, are also super shippable. Can these damn legs walk all night? I'll stay up to watch, okay? I don't like watching this. I only feel sorry for my Diana being used as part of their game. She's a celebrity. It must have taken so much courage for her to express her feelings, only for it to end like this. Seriously, weren't you all shipping the childhood sweetheart CP? Turns out Tom and Jasmine even have a kid together. You think Diana didn't know? So why was she trying so hard? Coming on this show means they're divorced, right? What's wrong with pursuing someone again after a divorce? All three of them are being very open about it, not deliberately stringing anyone along. While I ship this little couple, I also admire Diana's grace in wishing them well. Yeah, Diana's date this time was Sam. They've known each other for a long time and are good friends. They were just chatting, not as tiring as with Jason, nor as tense as with Tom. Being open and casual like this is her true self. Seriously, is Jason the type who's scared to sleep alone at night? He sees a female guest and immediately wants to flirt and create hype. I feel sorry for Annie. Where are all you Jason and Diana or Jason and Jasmine shippers now? Already unfollowed and now a hater. Jason is disgusting. What happened? Only focusing on XX, sorry, wrong channel, just listening in. It's trending. The third date made the controversy around the dating show even more intense, with its popularity soaring and continuously climbing. Diana's acceptance and matchmaking completely ended the childhood sweetheart CP. Casual viewers admired her grace, while her fans, feeling sorry for her, attacked Tom and me. My fans and new CP fans naturally fought back to defend us. Jason's fans, meanwhile, trashed both Diana and me mercilessly. Until Jason's drunken remarks hit the trending topics. Perhaps my and Diana's disregard and avoidance had long dissatisfied him, and the news about Tom and me became the catalyst. Annie drew Jason's gift, and he chose a quiet bar as the date location. He resorted to his old tricks again, trying to elicit sympathy from his fans. Perhaps under the influence of the dim lighting and alcohol, he forgot he was currently live streaming and couldn't help but vent. He said things like Diana and I had given him hope and then turned around and thrown ourselves into someone else's arms. Annie tried to reason with him, but it only served as a trigger for his emotional outburst. He mumbled, "Women really are just materialistic." As soon as those words were out, the scene fell silent. Jason, realizing what he'd said, turned pale and tried to laugh it off and backtrack, but the words, like spilled water, couldn't be taken back. This sentence quickly trended. Many of his inappropriate remarks were dug up, causing public outrage. Subsequently, a post appeared in the public eye. The title was, "Materialistic? Who's more materialistic than you?" It listed Jason's dating history when he was still a bar singer. After becoming an internet celebrity, he immediately broke up with his long-term girlfriend to establish a single persona and even exploited the relationship to create a devoted image to attract fans. Later, he dated several wealthy girlfriends, using them to continuously acquire resources until he landed a likable role and shot to fame. He always claimed it was an amicable breakup, putting on a devoted facade, using deliberately ambiguous language to make others think he was the injured party. His ex-girlfriends had suffered in silence. Until this time, when the walls came tumbling down, several ex-girlfriends posted their experiences of being cyberbullied along with chat records. We've all seen the face of a gold-digging man throwing a tantrum, haven't we? I said before that this Jason guy sounded weird, and his fans hounded me. Now the truth is clear. I feel sorry for Jasmine and Diana. The man himself was constantly latching onto them for clout and to suck them dry, and they still had to endure his fans' slander and insults. Female celebrities really do have it much harder than male celebrities. Male celebrities who disrespect women always have fans defending them, but female celebrities, even if they do nothing wrong, get hated on, slandered, and have lewd rumors spread about them. It's so tough. According to his contract, Jason couldn't quit filming midway, but he was already thoroughly socially ostracized and marginalized. The extent to which his future opportunities would plummet was foreseeable. The show quickly reached its final stages. On confession night, the question viewers most wanted answered was finally addressed. If they liked each other, why did they divorce in the first place? The night before filming this dating show, the director had us each write a letter to our ideal partner. If we found someone compatible, the letter would be made public. If not, we could choose what to do with it. With an hour left before confession night, I finally got my phone back and saw the letter Tom had written to me. As I scrolled to the end, a hot tear fell onto the screen, and my fingers trembled uncontrollably. It turned out he had known me since he was 16. During that time, against my dad's wishes, I had secretly auditioned for a role. It was a small part with only a few lines, but I was overjoyed for a long time. So excited that I woke up early to go for a run. I was wearing wired headphones, and as I ran onto the bridge, I faintly heard cries for help. I thought it was my imagination until I instinctively glanced sideways and was instantly terrified. A child was drowning, thrashing in panic, ignoring the reassurances of a teenager behind him. It looked like the boy trying to save him was about to run out of strength. I yelled for help, but there was no one around, and my phone wasn't on me, only my MP3 player. I had no choice but to jump into the water. I slapped the panicking child hard a few times, which stunned him, and then, with the teenager, we managed to pull him out. The adults quickly arrived, leaving just me and the teenager, who looked about my age. I couldn't help scolding him. What were you thinking, trying to be a hero? You need to consider if you have the strength before you try to save someone. He sat on the ground, head down, coughed a couple of times, and stubbornly retorted. It's because I got a high fever from saving someone the night before last that I'm like this. I do have strength. I laughed in exasperation. Oh, right, you're the strongest. If it weren't for me, you'd be saying that to the Grim Reaper. As I turned to leave, I heard him softly say thank you. I waved back without turning around. If you really want to thank me, then just be my first fan. My name is Jasmine. You'll see me on TV in the future. Make sure you remember. All I ever saw was a pale profile. Later, I met so many people and experienced so many things that this small incident was long forgotten, let alone what the boy I saved looked like. I never would have imagined he would be Tom, the Tom I had an arranged marriage with. He truly kept his promise and became my first fan. So Tom really is Jasmine. The gift he gave in the first episode was a Jasmine snow globe. It's so obvious. Tom's nickname is literally Jasmine's first fan. His feed is all retweets of our Jasmine's drama promos. I know him. When Jasmine was getting the worst of the online hate, he stayed up all night reporting thousands of hate comments. Later, I even added him as a friend and pulled him into the fan group, but he never spoke. Then I forwarded him a Jason and Jasmine fanfic, and he replied in the middle of the night, "Sorry, I'm a solo stan." I don't do fanfic. The funniest part is, when I checked later, the FIC had been deleted by the author. The author said someone paid to buy it out. OMG, I was a Jason and Jasmine shipper back then too, looking for content everywhere. Later I found a lot of my saved fanfics were gone. Could Tom have bought those out too? So tragic. Seeing his wife shipped with someone else, he must have been grinding his teeth, forced to pay to endure the pain. I had just wiped away my tears when I saw this and couldn't help but laugh out loud. He actually had such a childish side. Jasmine, we're ready to record. The staff member saw my red-rimmed eyes and quickly asked, "Are you okay?" I shook my head. I saw everyone's letters. I was moved. She understood something, instantly smiled sweetly, and whispered to me, "Actually, I'm a shipper of you and Tom. You two must be happy forever." I smiled back. I'll take that as a good omen. We definitely will be. The moment I pushed open the door, I took a deep breath. Tom stood in the center of the terrace, dressed in a sharp black suit. Vast expanses of vibrant red roses turned the place into a sea of flowers. I walked towards him, step by step, in a white silk gown. Tom's slightly reddened eyes held a smile, his expression incredibly soft. He handed me a bouquet of fresh flowers and extended his hand. "Jasmine, are you willing to start with this bouquet and spend the rest of our lives completing the romance that was missing before our marriage?" I understood his unspoken words. Our marriage was a brief transaction. We never expected that the end of the story would be the beginning of our affection. From then on, every day was our honeymoon phase. I unhesitatingly placed my hand in his warm, broad palm. "Tom, you know I only have one answer. I am." The moment we kissed, a dazzling display of fireworks quietly bloomed across the sky. The filming of the dating show Love Finds a Way officially ended, but its popularity, instead of waning, actually increased. The confession letters Tom and I wrote to each other went viral online. If his letter was a love letter to me, mine was the story of how I fell in love with him. In summary, it was just 4 words: mutual secret crush. My female-led political intrigue drama, The Flourishing Age, also seized this wave of attention to announce its premiere date. The Lee Corporation's official social media account congratulated Tom and me on our reconciliation and even launched a cash prize draw, gaining over 1 million followers in a day. My dad, ever the shrewd businessman, seeing an opportunity for profit, quickly followed suit. He officially announced my identity as the daughter of the S Group's chairman and, shockingly, even promoted my drama. Keep in mind, he had initially opposed my acting career and never allowed me to leverage any of Jasmine's family's influence. Truly realistic and ironic. So it was a marriage between wealthy families, huh? Well, that's fine then. Falling in love after marriage is quite normal. Back then, our Jasmine was ridiculed as being love-struck. Now, seeing these 2 letters, it all makes sense. If not for circumstances beyond her control, she would never have given up her career. I inexplicably want to cry a little. As an old fan, I was disappointed when she got married at the peak of her career. Seeing her slandered and abused, I felt helpless to defend her. But now that she's back, I feel like it was all worth it. Watching those behind-the-scenes clips, she put her heart into every role, learning tea ceremonies, etiquette, and polishing her fight scenes over and over, never using a stunt double. She loves her career more than anyone. Yes, our Jasmine is worthy of the title actress. As long as she doesn't break the law, I will always support her unconditionally. I was indifferent to her before, but after getting into this variety show, I became a CP fan. Then I binged her previous works overnight. Her acting is genuinely good. Now I'm a die-hard fan. With Jasmine's perseverance, she'll succeed in anything she does. Casual fan here. Even when she was heavily criticized, she never complained or used it for hype. Her fans are also quite polite. I'm planning to watch her drama, but I'm very picky about acting. Thank you, sweetie. Then let me take this opportunity to promote our Jasmine's drama, The Flourishing Age, premiering on August 20th. Welcome to judge for yourselves. My agent, Layla, looked at me with admiration. You're something else, silently making big moves. If you had told me earlier that you had 2 families backing you, I wouldn't have been so stressed out. Here, all the opportunities are flooding in. Many directors are sending you scripts, a lot of S+ productions, plus invitations to major established variety shows and big brand endorsement deals. I'm giving you a few days off. Cherish this quiet time. As expected, after this dating show ended, all the guests, except for Jason, saw their value skyrocket. Diana's ability to be gracious and let go on the show, in particular, won her a large number of fans. Unexpectedly, after Diana's fans and my fans fought side by side against Jason's apathetic behavior, they became surprisingly harmonious and friendly. They're both wonderful people, kind and generous, and they admire each other. We fans need to protect this friendship. Later, when the dating show's bonus clips were released, the content of the card from the 3rd date was also revealed. I had drawn a large tree with a female eagle and a young eaglet perched on it. This was what Tom had said in the video when discussing dreams with our son. Seeing this drawing, he would know that I had watched all his updated videos. Through this, I got to know him all over again. Now, not just him, but all the fans saw it too. They flocked to his video account to comment. William's dad, I knew it was you. Finally caught you red-handed. You have the guts to go on a show, so have the guts to respond. Don't hide at home and stay silent. I know you're watching. This guy is so sly. When people asked if he was divorced, he didn't respond, but he was quick to like comments praising his wife. And wife works, husband stays home. You're less busy so you take care of the kid. Yeah, right. Mr. CEO is on a TV show, how could he not be less busy? I hadn't quite figured out how to respond yet, until someone dug up a photo that served as concrete proof. It was a photo of our family of 3 on an outing. Although we were all wearing masks, our figures were easily recognizable. At the time, I just thought this family of 3 had amazing looks and proportions. Only after watching the show did I realize they were celebrities. I had just finished work when I saw the trending topic and rushed back to the family home. Whether to go public or not still required William's input. Unexpectedly, he spread his hands like a little adult. What's there to hide about my own mom and dad? You guys are just too shy. Don't make a little kid take the blame. It's bad for my spine. Well, that settled it. We would go public. So, this episode's video was filmed by William himself. He greeted the camera. Hi everyone, I'm William. A lot of aunties and uncles have been asking why we haven't updated. It's because mommy and daddy went on a show to date, and they didn't even take me. That's so unfair. Netizens exploded. They teased in the comments section, William, if you knew your dad doesn't want to take you next time either, you'd be even angrier. After The Flourishing Age aired, it became a massive hit nationwide, receiving rave reviews. My acting skills were once again recognized by countless people. A new fan, while reviewing my previous works, stumbled upon the recording of the dating show Love Finds a Way. So this editing guru opened their computer that very night. Unexpectedly, a few months later, edited clips of my and Tom's dating show went viral again. Having a kid then flirting is the ultimate killer move. When this topic hit #1 on the trending list, Tom was searing a steak for me. I clung to his lean waist. I'm joining a new production in a few days. I'll miss you and our son. He paused his actions, then chuckled. Then spend more time with us these few days. Of course. That evening, I read to William for a while as usual. After he fell asleep, I tucked him in, covered him, and tiptoed out of the room, only to be startled by Tom leaning against the doorframe. I glared at him and whispered, "What are you doing standing here?" He didn't answer but asked instead, "Finished with our son?" "Yes." "Then it's my turn to be accompanied." He smirked, scooped me up in a bridal carry, and headed towards our room. Until the sky began to lighten, I bit down on his shoulder. Jerk. You didn't say this kind of accompanying. He brushed aside my sweat-dampened hair from my temples and leaned down to kiss me again. Well, now you know. I'm joining the cast tomorrow.